Welcome, everyone. This is another edition of Facebook Live here at the UCN offices in Santa Monica, California. My name is Mike Baca. Today we're going to interview the man next to me, David Mijares, a 140-pound prospect for Golden Boy Promotions. David, first of all, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm coming off a long day so far, but I'm
you were
happy.
telling me you were sparring today in Oxnard. Who are you sparring with?
With Andrew Concio.
Concio fights Joseph Jojo Diaz. He's a featherweight. And he fights him on the Canelo undercard, right? Mm-hmm. September 17th.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start this interview the way I start all these interviews. September 16th, 1995. It's your birthday.
Right.
You share a birthday with Mickey Rourke. Did
Oh,
you
wow.
know that?
No.
You didn't know that?
Idea. No.
Do you know Mickey Rourke?
Well, I don't know Mickey Rourke, but my father does. It's a whole little weird winding tie.
Yeah.
That all ties it back. I mean, he really got, I guess you could say, he kind of got my dad into boxing.
Oh, really?
Somewhat, because back in the day when they used to have the Outlaw Gym, I'm not entirely sure about the whole story, but I know my father used to be a trainer there.
Okay.
So that's where he kind of got his bearings.
Right on.
For boxing. So.
Right on. You also share a birthday with B.B. King. Did you know that?
Oh, wow. That's cool.
How do you not look all this up?
I mean,
you just leave it to me to look it up?
I mean, I looked up just boxers that share the same.
If there were boxers, I would have said him.
Yeah.
Mickey Rourke is the only professional boxer.
Yeah.
Technically, he is a professional.
Exactly.
The exact day you were born, though, there's a funny story behind it.
Oh, yeah.
Take us through it.
Yeah, so my mom comes into the gym. I think it was
and
the
this is your
15th,
dad's
actually.
gym
in
Santa Monica.
This is my father's gym in Santa Monica. It was owned by Bob Dylan at the time. I guess he had a class going on, my father did. And my mom comes in, and she's rushing because, she's rushing through everything. She's like, okay, I got to get this done, this done, this done. She comes in, and I guess her water breaks in the gym. And she goes, oh. So she runs to the bathroom, and my father looks, and he's like, what's going on here? So he had to kind of put class on pause, and he was banging on the bathroom door because that's where my mom was. She was in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And that's where she had rushed to. And then, I guess he went back to kind of tell everyone, okay, guys, I think class is going to be over for today. And once he went back, that's when my mom hopped out of the bathroom, hopped in her car, drove herself to St. John's Hospital in Santa Monica.
Drove herself.
Yeah.
All right.
And then my father was just following right behind her, and there you go.
Very close to being born in a boxing gym.
Exactly.
That's the story.
I got my first taste of, where I wanted to be.
You were literally born into it.
Yeah.
You already name dropped him, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Perhaps the greatest American songwriter to ever live.
Right.
What kind of relationship do you have with him, if any?
I don't really have a relationship with him now.
Okay.
Back then, it was more like I didn't really know who I was, talking to at the time.
You were just the kid in the gym.
Right. I was just another little gym rat. This would,
Yeah.
And I wasn't really into boxing at the time. I was more so into, school work. And at the time, I was playing the euphonium for my band. That's a small tuba, and it sounds like a trombone. And so I was able to practice my music in front of him, and I was just practicing scales, nothing too crazy. And he enjoyed listening to it. I don't know how I sounded. I guess I sounded okay.
That had to have been nerve-wracking, unless you didn't know who he was.
I didn't know who he was. So
that helped.
And it was just a cool vibe because, I didn't know who he was, and I just had no idea, what kind of influence he had on music just in general.
Uh-huh.
And so I was just there doing my own thing, you know what I mean? So
Now, I understand your father. What's your father's gym? What's the name of it, by the way?
That gym back then, the name was Ruby's 18th Street Gym.
Ruby's 18th Street Gym in Santa Monica, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right on. And he is kind of a trainer to Hollywood luminaries, right?
Yeah,
as far as I understand. Any other celebrities we would know that he trained?
He used to train with Gary Shandling.
Okay, the late Gary Shandling.
Yeah. with Peterburg.
Peterburg, okay. They
Director.
both co-own the Wild Card West, right
Right.
down the street from
Mhm.
here.
All the names escape. David Duchovny.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah. Ben Stiller for a little bit.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was super young, Quentin Tarantino.
That's very cool.
So, I mean, there are people that I'm forgetting. I'm just completely blanking out because, I'm put on the spot right now. So, but, it was, I guess, when you interact with someone, they become kind of like a normal person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so...
I find the same thing with boxers. Like,
Yeah.
People ask me, how does this person, how's that person? I'm like, they're just normal people.
Right. Yeah.
Boxers are actually, internally they're kind of a little bit crazy,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But externally they're very normal and they're kind of low key. Of course, you have some one-offs like Mayweather and Broner and
Yeah.
who else?
Uh,
I can't even. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there are.
But
yeah.
let's get back to you. Eventually, you tried your hand in boxing. What age was that?
I started with USA Boxing at 12 years old. And my first fight, I think I was 13. So I had a year to kind of, I guess I went to a show at Pasadena. That's one of the gyms I fought out of when I was an amateur at Villa Park. So I went to a show, observed, then took a year to get myself together, went into the first fight, lost. It was at Eddie Hedietta's boxing gym in, I think, is that Bell? I think it's Bell. And then second fight, lost, learned. Third fight, that's when I started getting on a winning streak.
I see.
And of course, lose again to someone, because my father always wanted to put me in with someone who had more experience than I did, so I can learn something.
Yeah.
Not just always
Not just win all the time, easily too.
Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. Was he the one that put gloves on you for the very first time? And when was that?
Oh no, my father actually didn't. I actually slid him on just because I think I was watching him spar with one of his clients.
Okay.
And he was doing all, he's messing around with his clients, doing what he wanted to do. And so I slid him on, and I think I started hitting a bag or something, and then I started pretending to, fight someone as he's fighting someone, and then he'd stop, come over, ask me, okay, hey, Junebug, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? I was like, you got to keep your hands up. Most of the times, keep your hands up.
Yeah.
And so it's just stuff like that. And then, I started joining the workouts that he had. He had a class of people, and then I'd just come in, work out for a little bit, then go off, do some drawing. That's mainly the stuff that I remember. I know that one time, he was training a hockey player. I can't remember the name.
A professional hockey player.
Professional hockey player. And the hockey player, he was punching this water bag, and he punched it so hard that the stem flew out, and it basically exploded evereverywhere. And I looked, I was like, oh, I want to do that.
So that's kind of what drew you in a little bit. That caught your interest.
Exactly, yeah.
Was there a moment where you kind of realized you were really good at this?
No, I think because there was a bout that we had. It was against it was a big kind of like smoker show that we had at the 18th Street Gym, and it was me versus Ray Boom Boom Mancini Jr.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah,
take us through it.
And so with that, there was so much hype behind it and pressure behind both of us, because Ray wanted to find out if he wanted to really do boxing, or if he wanted to pursue a career, and I believe in basketball. And so that was like a defining moment for him. We were both in middle school, and we're very close in age. But I'm just, I think I got right into the age gap where I was a grade older than he was, and so that fight, we both went in. At first, I think my father said, okay, you guys both have body shots. Just body shots only.
Okay.
And then the second round, he gave Ray both hands, every body and head. So, and all I had was the jab to the head and both hands to the body. And in the third round, that's when I got everything. And so we both, started to become realistic. And, but luckily it was an exhibition match. There's no grudge between us.
Yeah.
It was just, it was that learning experience to see where our paths wanted to go.
That third round, do you think you won?
Yeah, I think I won.
And I kind of read the story, and Boom Boom Mancini, who was a guest of our show about a month ago, sitting in that chair, he was there as well, right?
Yeah. I think he was I'm pretty sure
he was in the corner.
He was in the corner, yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Did he tell you anything afterwards, or
no? Because he was so focused on what had happened, and he wanted to go over it with his son. I think after the fight. And same thing with my father. My father was actually the referee. He was keeping everything fair in there, though. But same thing with my father. He wanted to go over it and just see how I felt about it, as well.
Right on. Your amateur career, you mentioned it started at 13, right? Yeah. You had a couple losses. What does a boxer go through when he loses his first fight? Most famously, I remember Bernard Hopkins lost his first professional fight, and this happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
What went through your mind when you went through that first loss? Did you kind of think about, like, am I made for this?
Before amateur, because we did start our sparring, right? And it was at Villa Park as well, against an older, more experienced fighter. And that's when it was like, I think it was my first sparring session out of my own gym environment. So it was my first time going out into a different, it's kind of like hostile territory. And that's when I really got my ass whooped. And that's when I went home and I sat in the tub and I cried because I was frustrated. I didn't know what had happened. And then from there, it started to progress. And it, things didn't feel like I got my ass completely handed to me because I started working on things. And so once it transferred over to the amateurs, it's mostly nerves and things that you just missed out on. Like, because the amateur fights, luckily for me, they're videotaped. My father loves making sure that he has video on everything, so he can go over it and I can go over it. We'll both come together and go over it. And so both of us went over it, and he said, okay, look, you're just not throwing enough punches here, because amateurs is about, showing dominance, throwing more punches than your opponent, and just being more aggressive and more sharp. And that's what we eventually progressed to. And then after that, different things come along where other factors come in that will, make the fight swing more towards your way. And I think that it was mainly that sparring session where that really changed things, where I really got my ass whooped.
Why'd you cry in a tub? That many tears?
Well, because I was actually taking a bath at the time.
Oh,
I was really thinking about it, and I was like, wow, I got whooped on.
The only other person I know that goes and deliberately cries in a bathtub is Ace Ventura. In the very first movie. I remember him doing that. The circumstances were much different, though. Okay, so you're 13, you're starting out your amateur career, going into high school. Now, you went to Santa Monica High,
right?
But you grew up in Pasadena, correct? How does that work? Would you use the gym's mailing address to go to Santa Monica High or something?
So both of my parents work on this side, or at the time. They are actually, my mother had moved to downtown LA, but my father was still over here, and he was the primary caretaker. That's what he signed up as. And so he wanted to keep me close in case something weird happened. So that's why I attended school over here, because it was too far for my parents. If I was all the way in Pasadena, and
right
it's, I think if I grew up in Pasadena, I think it would be a very different. I would be very different person.
You think so?
Yeah, because there's not. It would be up to me to really go to a place, really show up at the gym rather than be out and be around. I think it'd be different. Because, in high school, you're kind of trying to find things. And I went down a bad path, at this high school, as well. But that's because of me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because of the high school or anything. It's what attracted me. You know, when you're a kid, weird things attract you, like bad things.
Okay.
And so you start going towards just the wrong things, and I think it's just a better decision to be over here. You know, my father will be able to steer me in the right direction, whereas over there I wouldn't have like a parent or anything. It'd be up to me to make it home at a certain time. It'd be up to me to get my work done, up to me to actually show up in the gym.
Yeah. What kind of bad things are you comfortable with talking
Yeah,
about?
well, I used to do graffiti.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, and
you're a tagger.
yeah, I was a tagger.
What was your tagging name?
I didn't have a tagging name. It was just a crew.
Oh, it was a crew.
That
Okay.
we always put up all the time, and it was just it was a funny time. I respect taggers and what they do, but for on my end, what I was just doing is basically pissing on a wall. It was just writing on a wall.
Yeah.
Not real art.
Yeah. And you mentioned you were drawing before, so you kind of have that artist
Yeah.
kind of mindset. You've always been a good drawer. I'm just like, I draw too, but I don't use it.
Right.
Like ever, I'm just naturally good at it. And
Yeah.
I bet people wish they had it.
Yeah, exactly.
I waste it.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Did people in high school know you were an aspiring boxer?
I think they knew I was practicing boxing, but they didn't know I was an aspiring boxer. They didn't know how real it was.
I see.
Yeah, because I never got to a national competition level when I was in high school. It was always it's actually more towards the end, more of my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I started to really rack up kind of wins in big tournaments. But then after that, after high school was over, that's when I really put the focus on boxing. And so that's where I really progressed in my amateur career. I put 3 years of, about 3 years of work into it. So
They did know you were a musician, though.
right.
Because you were in band.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play any other sports?
No, I did
No?
not.
Okay, so it's just band. The band guy who boxes.
Yeah.
And what instrument was that again?
The euphonium.
Euphonium.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it before.
Yeah.
But
It's cool.
a tiny tuba, huh?
Yeah. Sounds like a trombone.
Sounds like a trombone. Okay. So you graduate high school, and as it relates to boxing, what was your mindset after graduation?
What's the next adventure? And the next adventure was the removal of headgear at the first national tournament.
Okay, and take us through that. How did that feel?
And so I prepared really good sparring at Wildcard at the time. It was a crop of European fighters that were decorated. I know. I remember one in particular because he was able to get off a pretty good. It was a pretty good sparring session for him. Taras. I can't remember his.
Taras, first name Taras.
Yeah, he's
I
a
can't think.
Ukrainian bronze medalist.
Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
I still know him, but okay.
I know that he's at Wildcard West now.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where he's primarily at.
Did you eye the 2016 Olympics?
I did eye them. I went to all the qualifiers. I made it to, let me see. So first one was the WSB qualifier in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I ended up losing to the number 1 seed for a decision. Yeah, and then the next one after that was the Colorado Springs, where I didn't realize how loopy I actually was going into the ring because of the altitude. And but I tried to fight my buttocks off, but it just wasn't enough, and I ended up losing against Hades, number 1. Who?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's Richardson Hitchens. He was going to go for the U.S., but did not qualify, so
he went to Haiti to qualify over there.
Right.
Wow.
And then the final one was in Memphis, Tennessee, where I was, I made it, it was okay. I ended up losing to Richardson Hitchens for a split decision as well, so wasn't able to pull the trigger on that because it's very sharp for that tournament. I was able to get my first guy out of there, and I was trying to get Hitchens out of there, but it just didn't go down. So
right on. Did you watch the Olympics this year in boxing?
Yeah, I watched a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I was able to catch what was really interested me was the Kazakhstan's welterweight Usanov. something Yusinov.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he's a big deal, so I was just watching him, checking him out, and he's a very slick fighter.
Was that the same weight you competed in?
No,
for the
I
Olympics?
was light welter.
You're light welter.
Yeah.
Wait, I know you're light welter now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, right on. Junebug.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
It came from the southern side of my family. My family's kind of complicated. My grandfather had ended up with 2 wives. So one is my actual grandmother and the other one's my step-grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
She's from the south, and so that's how I got the name Junebug.
I have a million questions after that. 2 wives, but I'm just going to ask this one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have basically 2 grandmothers on one side. Do you get that as many birthday presents and Christmas presents?
Yeah,
or
at
is
one
it combined?
point I did. I was lucky to get that, and
There's a positive dairy there.
yeah, exactly. Well, there's probably 2 grandmas. That's on one side. That's awesome already.
Yeah.
I got the one on the one side as well. So
That's right. So that's 3.
yeah.
Jackpot. All right. Let me wrap this up here before we get to the clips of your last fight. You made your pro debut at the Canelo Con undercard earlier this year, May 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Just before that, Golden Boy Promotions signed you. Is there a story behind that? Did somebody from Golden Boy discover you? How did that come about?
It was just, I think it was luck and timing because I think it's before the Spokane 2015 Nationals. I was just sparring with, messing around with this older client that my father has. And after that, a former, I think, flyweight British Olympian came in with his team, and he had 2 other fighters with him, and that was at Box and Burn, and because that's at the time where we didn't have a gym to train out of, we were just kind of going around, and so after I was done sparring, I was like, hey, we should spar with them, see what's going on, because I had to get ready for Spokane, and so we sparred with them. I put in pretty good work, but it was it caught the eye of the matchmaker that is I'm drawing a blank. The matchmaker for Sheer Sports.
Got it.
And he really, Hayden Whitfield, and he really he was the one that really gave me all my opportunities.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So he hooked me up with Sheer Sports, and Sheer Sports they're close with Golden Boy.
Yep, absolutely.
Kept pushing. I'm lucky to have video on me, and for as an amateur, and so they kept pushing the video, and they checked it out, and they're like, oh yeah, okay. So I think that's what really ultimately had Golden Boy, they're interested.
Right on. And you feel that your style kind of translates better as a professional rather than amateur, right?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Right on. Yeah, there's a lot of little things in amateur that you kind of have to worry about that go out the window when you're a pro.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get to our next segment, I mean. There you are, about to enter the ring. Now, this is your Los Angeles debut.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago at the Belasco Theater in downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You can go ahead and play it. Now, I almost shit my pants in excitement when I heard your intro song. McFadden and Whitehead's Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
Right, yeah.
I look around and I ask fellow writers, are you guys hearing this? This is awesome. What inspired that?
Of course, the magical Larry
Other
Holmes.
than it being a fantastic song.
I mean, Larry Holmes, of course. I mean, I've studied his jab because my father put me on, I think it was a 2-month lesson where he's like, you need to watch this man right here. You need to watch his jab. And so
It's one of the best jabs ever. Absolutely.
One of the best
So
jabs.
how does that song relate to Larry Holmes? Is that something he came out to?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. I didn't know that.
It was.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's just something that me and my father were like, okay, we're gonna settle on a song, so let's do it. Let's go with this song. So
Right on. See, that song gets me so excited. I didn't even ask you a question. But what kind of goes through your mind when your name's being introduced? Like what do you do to put yourself in the zone? Other than listen to disco.
Yeah. I think that the difference between being in Vegas and Utah, when you hear your name, it's just like, okay, it's my name. It's just the usual things. I go in. But then here, at what we call the homecoming, it was different because you have an actual crowd behind you.
Yeah.
So
And you had plenty of people there, too.
yeah, I think as soon as that, as soon as my name was announced, that's when kind of my overall plan of going in there and starting off with the jab, kind of easing into things, that's when it kind of went out the window because, you start feeling all this excitement and adrenaline, and you just want to give a wonderful show for the people who came out for you.
Yep.
And
well, we'll see a little bit of that now. First round. This is a weird little stretch here. What's up with that?
Man, it's just something I
you always
get loose. Yeah.
It just looked, and you don't see that every day.
Yeah.
But here you are. What's one of the first things you look for in an opponent?
Just to see how fast he is.
Okay.
Definitely.
What if he doesn't throw though?
Yeah, that's when I try to hit him with something to try and get him to open up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't open up, then that's when I know I need to stick with my own jab. It's just from experience of sparring with professional fighters, is that it's not easy to get them to open up. They like taking their time. And
right here, it's when you guys start to get a little aggressive.
Yeah,
that was the unexpectedness you were talking about, right?
Yeah, that's the adrenaline.
Now, did your corner kind of yell at you after this first round?
No.
Like, why are you so aggressive? Or
yeah, no, I was actually surprised. I mean, my father was he was just make sure you stay safe, make sure you stay smart, don't let the crowd really influence you, and he's just telling me my instructions of what I'm supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And but like I told a lot of people, what kind of sealed the deal for me in the second round was our heads actually came together, and so I didn't want to cut at all, and so I had to do something to try and stop the fight from going any further. I didn't want to cut for sure. It's early on in the career, you don't want cuts.
No,
that's
absolutely.
Learned,
yeah, you don't want time off. That's
right.
The thing.
Yeah.
All right. Next clip. You're a southpaw,
Mm-hmm.
and are you naturally left-handed?
No.
You're not.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you right with you tag with your right hand.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna see your left hand here, and I think it kind of hurts him a bit. I think we might have a slow-mo at the end too, but you may remember it. Do you kind of set shots up, like one to the body and then come up top?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I think that's one of the things that it's taken that as to develop.
Yeah.
You got to develop.
There
that.
it is.
Yeah.
Now, it kind of looks like you have your eyes closed. Can you see that shot land?
Yeah, I can feel.
Well, not eyes closed, but your head's turned away.
Right. It's just the fighter's feel.
Yeah.
Of where the shot's gonna land.
Okay. I know Danny Garcia is like the famous one of kind of ducking down. And
right.
I think he knocked out Khan that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I always thought he got lucky on it, but apparently they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, if he feels the distance, then it makes sense.
All right, next clip. It looks like you hurt your guy for the first time. Do you look for signs that he's hurt? And when you see those signs, do you pounce on them? And like, what kind of signs would those be? Yeah,
it's signs of them welting or
a grunt.
Yeah, grunt. Okay. Usually, that's when you should really pounce on them. You don't want to take your time.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen in boxing. You can't let. One shot will hurt you, so you can't let the other guy get that one shot in. You just got to try and finish it.
Fighters ever talk to you in the ring?
No. Oh, one fighter has, and Ik Yang.
Ik Yang? I know Ik Yang.
Yeah, we were sparring for, I can't remember who he was getting ready for, but he was downstairs at the wild card, and I was able to have, the opportunity to go down there. And he's funny. He talks to everyone in the ring, though. You know.
Yeah, I know he's a wild character.
Yeah, he's like,
I do know that.
Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so it was just kind of like pumping you up.
Pumping him up and getting me angry.
Talking trash a little?
Yeah, it's a little bit of, it's an interesting thing he does.
I like how you brought up getting angry because it parlays perfectly into our next clip. you kind of calm down here.
Mm-hmm.
But as you see, you kind of establish the jab a little bit, get some distance. But it kind of feels like, or I felt sitting ringside, that you're holding yourself back. Is that true?
Yeah, I was trying to slow down the pace because, one, I know that there are a lot of people that came out from Santa Monica and they were stuck in that traffic to get to the show.
Uh-huh.
And two, it's just something that, as a fighter, you know, you need to just have that control where you control the pace, you finally establish your own pace, and then, you know, you can kind of play with what you have for a little bit. It's almost like a tiger getting ready to pounce on something. They play with, you know, or, you know, my cat, like I'll take for example, it'll mess around with a lizard and it doesn't realize when it kills it, but it keeps messing around.
Yeah, it just plays with it. It's having fun.
So just trying to have fun, trying to calm things down. I wanted to make sure my people got, you know, they got their money's worth. I didn't want to end it too quickly, or they'd be pissed at me.
I'm interested to know, what's that cat's name? I got a cat myself.
Canelo. Because it's
Canelo?
orange. Yeah.
That's a very... Was that before you signed with Golden Boy or
It
after?
was. It was actually
It was
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll let it slide.
Just came to us, and he was... at first, he was pretty skinny, and then he started fighting in the streets. He won a lot of fights, I'll tell you that.
Really?
Yeah. And then, but finally I had to take him in, get his huevos whacked. I was like, no more fighting, man. You're retired.
You're retired.
Yeah.
All right. The next clip, we're going to see the stoppage. You hit him with the left. That's really what looks like did it. And then a few more, and Lou Moret steps right in. Were you kind of waiting for the referee?
No,
Or are you just kind of in a zone? You don't see anything else?
I was kind of disappointed when he stepped in because I think, well, you know, the position that he's in, I guess it makes sense.
Yeah, he wasn't fighting back, really.
He was a very tough opponent, I tell you that. He didn't go down.
You feel like he could have continued and given a little bit more of a show?
I don't think he would have been able to give a show.
No?
He could have continued, but it's how things go, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume any fighter likes to stop their opponent and knock them out rather than have somebody step right in.
Yeah.
How does that feel, knocking somebody out?
I haven't done it yet, so...
I mean, I'm sure you've done it, I mean, not professionally.
It's strange because in sparring it happened, and you think the other person's like messing around, but they actually go down, and you're just like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And so he's kind of like, okay. But with body shots, I like dropping people with body shots.
Those are my favorite too.
Yeah, because you can tell when they're in pain and they got to take that knee. That's just like, yeah. Yes.
All right, let's play the last clip. It's just you being introduced as the winner. And I think Lou Moret tells you something. What's Lou telling you here?
I think...
yeah, there he is.
It was one of the clinches. I think my arm was stuck in there. And he's like, did you hear me when I said you got to break? And I was like, yeah, I did hear you. And then that's the end of the conversation.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Right on. So the crowd that came to see you, do you think they got their money's worth that night?
They were happy, yeah. It was a fun little vibe that we all had. Everyone got to get together, and yeah, I think they had fun.
Right on.
Yeah.
And who's in your corner? I know your coach is David Paul, right?
Mm-hmm. And then his assistant Sab won, and that's their gentleman in the jacket.
Right on.
And then my cut man, my manager, and then Courage, another person I usually have in my corner, but this time things got switched around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure. I can't remember who else was in there. I think that's it.
Right on.
Yeah.
This is the Ring TV live interview.
Yeah.
There's me right over here.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel when you're sitting ringside.
You know what? I did see you.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I said hi or anything, but I knew in the back of my mind we were going to have you.
Mm.
So I was trying to listen to your conversation, but I couldn't hear anything. Ain't No Stopping Us Now was playing. I tune everything out after I hear that. So yeah, this is the highlight reel afterwards. How often have you saw this fight?
I've seen it twice and replayed it for myself twice.
Was there anything your coach or your father gave you to fix in this fight? What was that?
The punches are too big.
The what?
The punches are way too big here. I gotta shorten up my shots.
Make them compact.
Yeah.
Right on. Do we have Facebook questions? We do. Thank you, Max. I'll trade you papers here. All right. First question. This is from Erica on Facebook. If you didn't grow up in the gym atmosphere, do you think you would have still become a boxer?
No.
What do you think you would have been?
I don't know. I could have been still a tagger.
Can't do that professionally.
Yeah, I guess you can't. I was aiming to be an illustrator, but you can't really make money off of that. I was at one point I wanted to become an illustrator for like a TV show or something.
Right on, like a Simpsons or something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, those are the only things that pop into my head at the moment.
All right, there was a two-part question. I kind of... or did growing up in that environment, the boxing environment, help you shape who you are today?
Yeah, definitely. Growing up in the environment did help me shape who I am. There's a lot more discipline in how I go about my day, aside from sometimes I sneak in crazy amounts of food because I love food. And yeah, definitely. That's another thing. I think if I didn't have boxing, then I wouldn't have an appreciation for food. And if I didn't have an appreciation for food, I wouldn't want to go into culinary.
Right on.
After boxing, yeah. That's what I want to go into.
Normally when fighters come up, they're at lower weight classes. Now you're 140 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Did that have anything to do with you loving food so much?
Yeah, definitely, because I fought at 152 for one of the Golden Glove tournaments.
Okay. So
I actually made it pretty far.
Yeah, you're coming down in weight a little bit then.
Yeah, but...
So 140 is easy for you to make.
Yeah, as you get older, then, the body changes. And so now I'm just learning that, the metabolism does slow down, so I can't eat as much, like extreme burgers and crazy stuff like that. So at one point, I was considering going down to 135, but I think I'm going to have to stay at 140 because that's where I feel strong. I have not been down to 135 yet. Mm-hmm. I've only made it to 136, and that was before the Memphis, Tennessee fight.
Okay.
But that as an amateur.
Yeah.
Qualifier, yeah.
Right on. Well, that about wraps it up. How can people follow you, social media wise? I know you got a new Twitter.
Yeah, got a new Twitter.
You just got it. What is it? Tell the people.
Dave Mijar, DAVEMIJAR. That's my Twitter. And Instagram, David Mijares. You can find crazy pictures of food that I love.
I saw chicken and waffles as one, right? Oh, man.
For International or National Waffle Day.
Yep.
Had to get that in. And then on Facebook, David Charles Mijares. And, that's about it.
No fight scheduled yet?
No fight scheduled yet. Yeah, we're supposed to find out hopefully soon. But for now, I'm just lucky to be in this camp. Tail end of Andrew Cancio's camp.
Right on.
So, and he's a tough customer. So
yeah, absolutely. He's in tough for JoJo though. I think I got JoJo in that fight. What do you think?
He was hitting me with some crazy body shots today.
Really?
So
I'm actually very happy to hear that because I've always wanted JoJo to get in there with a puncher.
Yeah, he's a puncher. He definitely is a puncher.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up for this edition of Facebook Live. We don't have a name for it. Maybe you guys can help us out with a name for my show. But that's it. David Mijares, Junebug. Look out for him. Thanks for being on here. I'm having you.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this is awesome.
All right, my name is Mike Baca. Thanks for watching. This is the Undisputed Champion Network.